Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel, Strix Outdoors. In this video we're going to talk about the new gloves from Kuiu called the Axis Hybrid Glove. So I'm going to talk about the features of the glove, go into a little bit more detail than what's currently present on the website, and then also give you a full review based on my experience with these gloves here in the later part of last season. So stay tuned. Right quick before we get started, if you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button right here and the little bell to get notifications for future videos. Now let's jump into the details. As I mentioned, these are called the Axis gloves. They're brand new as part of a whole line of clothing that Kuiu just came out with. They're pretty slim fitting and snug, which is great. This is per the website. They're 2.5 ounces a pair. The outside material is a Primaflex 100% polyester. It has a waterproof breathable membrane inside. And then on the inside, very inside, is a fleece backer, which you can see here. They're spandex free, but they do stretch quite a bit in every direction, which is fantastic. Additionally, they have a neoprene cuff. They have this little soft suede leather type tabs, make them easy to hang and pull. And they have also a little bit of leather right here on between the thumb and index finger. It's for reinforcement and makes a great snot rag as well. On the palm side of the gloves, you also have these silicone dots, which are for extra grip, and you have these conductive panels on the thumb and index finger, which will allow you to control your smartphone. As I mentioned, these are form-fitting. This is a large size. I generally fit between a medium and a large, depending, and these fit me just perfectly except for the fingertips being a little long. And again, that's for me. Just pay close attention to the sizing chart on their website. So to me, these are absolutely amazing. It's got the durable water repellent treatment on the outside fabric, and we're going to test that here in just a little bit. And then if that fails you, which if you're familiar with these type of fabrics, they eventually do if you put them through enough grit and grime, it's got a waterproof membrane, breathable membrane inside of that, which is the key. They are pretty wind resistant. I've used these down to about 32 degrees Fahrenheit in windy conditions, and they mostly kept my hands warm. After about 6 hours of sitting out there in the elements, my fingertips did start to get cold, so it's not going to be a late season type glove, but for any of that mid-season type stuff, I think these are going to be perfect. And the waterproof aspect is really the killer feature. Let's do some testing. So as I mentioned, your first barrier to the elements is this outside layer that's treated with a durable water repellent treatment, right? So what that means is if you've got splashing or spray or anything like that, the water just runs off. You can even submerge these for some period of time, and just the outside treatment itself will mostly keep you dry. But it will eventually wet through, and that's what you can start seeing here. Now I'm opening and closing my hand underwater here to really put these gloves to the test. Right about here is when I first start feeling the water seeping through around the fingertips, seemingly coming in from the seams. This is quite a bit to put these gloves through, and this is not really what they're intended for. So I think one of the really neat things about this glove is because it has this neoprene cuff here, it actually fits pretty tight to your wrist and arm. And if you've got a jacket like this Sitka Waterfowl jacket that's got like this rubberized cuff, you can cinch it down on that neoprene cuff. And it does a great job of actually keeping water from coming in here so easily. So I can submerge this whole thing. And I didn't really get wet. It started coming into the cuff, so you can't work underwater with these by any means, but if you lose something in the water and need to go reach in and grab it, you're okay. You're not getting wet. So with all these features, these gloves are awesome. Love them so far. Now Kuiu really intends these to be used as mid-season mid to late season type bow hunting gloves, which are great, and you've got the water repellency features of it that are fantastic, right? What I found them most useful for and am super excited about is for waterfowl hunting. So as I mentioned, all the waterproof features, they make them really great to use in the duck blind. Kuiu doesn't make duck hunting products. They've chosen to stay out of that market, but these gloves are really multi-purpose. So you can use them bow hunting as they intended, but if you're a duck hunter as well, like me, they're fantastic in the blind. What's so great about them is the waterproofing features and the relatively lightweight and dexterity that you still get with these gloves. So for instance, I can put out decoys, not worry about getting splashed in the hand when the water is 30 something degrees and getting wet. I can go pick up decoys, keeping these gloves on, and dip my hands in the water if I need to, and I don't get soaking wet. I can clean off my decoy stringers with these gloves, and despite them getting wet on the outside, they do a great job of keeping you dry on the inside, and that makes a world of difference. For example, in 30 something degree temperatures, I picked up all my decoys without any issue with these gloves, where my buddies were sitting there dying because their hands were falling off from having to do the same thing with bare hands, because they didn't want to get their regular gloves soaking wet, which would make the problem just as bad. So these are well worth the money. They've found a permanent spot in my pack, especially when I'm duck hunting. Now, with all those great things that I've said, these are not quite perfect, and especially for duck hunting gloves, which I think is what is most exciting about them. So they are not 100% waterproof. They've got a great repellency on the outside, they've got a waterproof membrane on the inside, but I don't think the seams are taped on the inside. So as I was demonstrating earlier, underwater, submerged, when you completely soak these through and you keep them in contact with water, you will eventually get water coming through the seams to the inside of the glove. Now it takes a lot to do that, and as I mentioned before, I was able to pick up decoys and whatnot and not get my hands wet, although the outside of the glove was wet. But there is a limitation, so I don't want to say that these are 100% just perfect. Again, they're not intended for waterfowl hunting, but I think they're awesome for that. I haven't found another glove that has this type of feature with this low profile and dexterity. Most duck gloves are bulky, and if they're decoy gloves, they're rubber and they come up to here and they're a pain in the rear. So that's only really a minor compromise in my mind. If you're a duck hunter, you probably never even heard of Kuiu or much less considered their products, but you should really go check out their Axis hybrid glove. You're in the southern part of the US especially, where temperatures are more moderate, I think you're gonna love these. Lightweight, compact, form-fitting, still gives you dexterity and gives you a lot of waterproof attributes that are critical in the duck blind. My name's Jesse, that's it for this video. Until next time, thanks for watching.